What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and more importantly, welcome back to Ideal Offseason. This is the series where I put the GM cap on for a little bit and help a team navigate through their offseason. And we try to keep this series as realistic as possible. We take a look at each team's individual status and where they are in the NBA and try to, straighten them out for a better path forward after the offseason. So if you're the Washington Wizards, you're not a great team, but you know what? You showed a little bit of promise at the end of the year with some of your young guys. Okay, how do we kind of build on that and start writing ourselves for the future? Or if you're the Lakers, you got Luka and LeBron, you're trying to win a championship, so I'm going to help you try to do that. And today we've got the Cleveland Cavaliers, so we're going to help them via some realistic trades. We're going to go through a mock draft, free agency, use realistic numbers and settings for everything so that we can really try to help them build for a better tomorrow. But before we do that, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment to my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. As always, go watch my Do They Fit in the NBA series here. Really popular series on the channel. These videos get demonetized all the time. It's really annoying, but because they keep doing well, and I just love making them, I'm going to keep pumping them out, so let's just support each other in this endeavor. And then Ideal Offseason's back. You're watching one right now. Go give the rest of them a watch. It's by far and away the most popular series on my channel, and I don't know. There's no one else really on YouTube doing it, so you might as well get the content from me. But anyway, let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. My God, I'm tired. I have been flying around and traveling a bunch this week. Let's talk about Cleveland. And that brings us to the Ideal Offseason spreadsheet. For those of you new to the channel, I use a lot of spreadsheets to kind of help articulate and visualize the stories I'm trying to tell through these videos. And you can actually get access to these spreadsheets if you want. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is go to the link in the description of this video, click on the link that says join my Discord. If you join that and you go to the announcements channel, there's a link there to download the spreadsheet for free. That way you can use it. You can post whatever you make on there, do whatever you want to with it. This is really all just a marketing ploy so that you guys join my Discord. But you know what? It's free. So just do it anyway and support your boy. But anyway, the Cleveland Cavaliers, phenomenal season, all said and done. Phenomenal basketball season, right? Didn't end the way that you probably wanted it to if you were a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. At the time of recording this, it's like 3 or 4 days post when that's happened. My days are so confused at this point. Like I said, I've been away doing things for my company and stuff, so it's been a minute. I haven't even been able to watch as much of the games as I want to, but I've got other things to do. So the Cavaliers, awesome season this year, right? They had a loaded team. They brought in Coach Kenny Atkinson. I'm a big fan of that guy personally. I kind of had a feeling as soon as he got in that things were gonna take an uptick. I couldn't have imagined this much. He figured out the Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen thing that we were all like, why doesn't this work? He made it work, and it was really, really cool. They were killing teams this whole season. They had 2 stretches this season where they were just crushing everybody in their path. It was really, really impressive, right? And then they go and make an awesome trade for DeAndre Hunter and add another stud player to their lineup, and we kind of just figured this team's going to the conference finals against the Boston Celtics, and well, that didn't happen, did it? The Indiana Pacers are a very good basketball team, and I think it's worth noting just about the playoffs and everything, because I'm not exactly making a ton of videos talking about the playoffs right now. One, because I'm just busy and I'm not watching them quite as closely as I'd like to, and by that I mean watch every single second of them. But I think it's worth saying it's not a shame that the Cavaliers lost this series, right? What do I mean by that? The Pacers, first of all, are a really, really good basketball team. It's funny, we did a study on this channel talking about teams that should be contenders analytically for the NBA Finals, and the Pacers were a team that stood out that we were like, oh, interesting, that analytically this team should be beating some of these other teams, and they are right now. So that's one, just kind of funny when that stuff actually really turns out to be accurate, right? But also the Pacers are one of these gimmick teams that when they get in their gimmick and they do it really well, and that's just run really fast, pass the ball around, and look, there's a lot of skill behind it as well. I'm not trying to demean them in any way. I'm telling you their coach understands what they need to do to win, is a very specific thing, and they're doing it really well. And it's hard to stop. The Cavs also, you guys were really banged up at this point. It sucks to say, because you did have a really deep team, and you probably should have been able to fight through it a little bit more, but it's certainly not anybody here's fault that it didn't happen this season. So if you're a Cavs fan, don't get too demoralized, right? You have a really good basketball team here. We need to make some moves today, and we need to make some adjustments, but I think it's going to be okay. I think you're rolling into this next season, and you should feel really good about your chances again, especially with what's happened to the Celtics and whatever else is going to happen to the Celtics this offseason. You guys very well could and should be the favorites coming out of the East next year, and I'm going to try to do that by the end of this video. So what are we going to do? I'm going to go through the people that are currently still on the roster. We're going to talk about your cap situation, the draft picks we have, and then we'll start making moves and try to make you guys feel better. So let's start off with breaking down the roster. If you're new to these videos, these are EPM numbers over here. EPM is basically a really advanced statistical method that gives you a number like 0 to 100 as to how good you are in comparison to everyone else in the NBA at offense, defense, and just overall within the NBA, which, look, I'll always tell you guys, a preface with statistics, there's always things that statistics can't capture. Always 100%. But I will say EPM's probably like one of the best statistics we have out there for grading and evaluating and comparing players. So I think it's a pretty trustworthy stat for the most part. Again, as long as you can take certain context into account with it. But that's why we have them on screen here, just to kind of give added context to players. So first guy we have on the list, Donovan Mitchell. Phenomenal basketball player this year. Look at this. Almost like he's 99th percentile, damn near offensively. He's really good defensively. And then overall 99.1 percentile. He's one of the best basketball players in the NBA this year. Definitely within MVP conversations. Obviously, two guys were running away with it, but just a phenomenal basketball season all around. You've got that kind of 1A guy on the team, and I know the whole thing, like Donovan Mitchell's never made it past the second round. That's so dumb. I don't know. It's just dumb. If you want to go make those arguments and just exist in stupidity on the internet, I guess good for you, but you're free to do so. But just no, man, he's awesome. He was awesome in this series, despite all the injuries and everything. He was really good. Darius Garland, offensive superpower as well, 97th percentile. When you got two guys like this on your team, god damn, that's impressive. Obviously, a bit of a defensive liability at times. You have enough good defenders around you. It's not a huge deal. I love Darius Garland's game. I think he's a really fun point guard that can do just about anything that you really need him to do offensively, and I value him a ton. I actually think he's on a pretty decent contract overall. So big fan of Darius Garland. Evan Mobley, wow, what a pleasure it was to watch him play this year. Shout out to him and the hard work he's putting in, and Coach Atkinson for really bringing it out of him. This is always a nice reminder because Evan Mobley's big contract just kicked in, so 4 years, ton of money going forward, right? Guys, give guys 4 years to at least kind of settle themselves in the NBA at times, right? It took him 4 years to be like, okay, you know what, I'm good at this NBA thing, right? Like, he was always a good defender, but the offense really came around this year. You can see the numbers reflected here. Obviously, DPOY guy, his defense was just incredible this year. There's so much this guy can do with and without the basketball now. He's like the new Chris Bosh in my mind, and maybe even more talented. So, big fan of Evan Mobley. You got 3 elite basketball players here coming in at the 99th, 95th, and 93rd percentile. We have another 95th percentile here, but we'll get to him. You traded for DeAndre Hunter, a guy that was in the 6th man of the year conversation, had a huge uptick in production as well with the Atlanta Hawks that I never thought I'd see. His game is still a little confusing for me to watch at times. I just don't always know if he knows what he's doing out there, but you got some high-level production. He obviously got banged up pretty good in that playoff series. He was taking some hits out there, man. Like, I was feeling for him, but you got a really, really good basketball player on both sides of the basketball. Like, I know the defensive numbers weren't that great. This also incorporates some of the Hawks stuff, though, which was, they were running some weird defensive stuff, in my opinion. So, you got a really good basketball player, and for a pretty good deal, so you're happy to have him. Jared Allen. Love Jared Allen, right? Probably on one of the best contracts in the NBA. Look at this, 90th percentile offensively, 97th defensively, 96th percentile overall. Just everything he does, he's like an ultimate role player type of dude. We love Jared Allen and everything he does. And also, I just love the fits he wears. Like, it's just like nothing. Like, it's just like, hey, I found this plain brown sweatsuit and I'm going to wear this to the game. That would be me if I was in the NBA. And like, I don't know if you've ever watched any of his interviews. He just like plays with Legos and cooks in his free time. I fucking love this guy. Max Strus, the text message he sent to the group was definitely a little bit cringy. I'm not gonna lie. Before that game, he was like, "Hey, if you're not coming with all your heart or whatever, like don't show up to work or something like that." I don't know exactly what it said. A little bit cringy coming from this player on the team. Yeah, like I admire the sentiment at the end of the day. I really do. Obviously, good shooter, brings a lot of energy, made some really big time defensive plays in the playoffs. So We like Max Strus. Isaac Okoro, former lottery pick of theirs. Kind of just a defensive guy, but the three-point shots come along pretty well. So valuable player, making a decent amount of money. And money's going to be a big topic of conversation in this video. So don't get maybe too attached to Isaac Okoro. You got Dean Wade, who doesn't always look like an NBA player to me, but, you know, solid spacing forward. Who he didn't shoot it like great this year. He was like just about league average, maybe a little bit below or something, but surprisingly like a pretty damn good defensive player as well. Not sure he's a guy we need to keep on this roster necessarily, but it's 1 year left, $6 million. We'll kind of evaluate and see where we go. And then we get to these other three guys. Jalen Tyson was their rookie this year. I wasn't a huge fan of him coming in because he had like the highest usage rate in college basketball, and he was like a 4th or 5th year guy, and that was the first time he had really shown anything. And I'm like, well, he's not going to get to do that in the NBA, let alone with the Cleveland Cavaliers when they have so many ball-dominant guys. So I'm like, I don't really understand the point of this pick. And he didn't get to do much this year. I always like how hard he crashes the glass, though, so that's kind of cool. I have no reason to get rid of him, though. He's a rookie, so there you go. We hope he'll get a little bit better. Chuma Okeke, defensive guy. He was part of this Orlando Magic streak where they're like, we're only going to draft defensive power forwards. That's all we're going to do. We are the Orlando Magic. And he didn't end up staying with them. He was picked up by the team this year. I thought it was a pretty good signing. I'm like, he can do enough for the team, but considering what we need to do financially with this team, which is lose a bit of money, he's got a team option. I don't feel a need to keep him around, so I am letting go of Chuma Okeke already. And then we've got Craig Porter Jr., who honestly didn't get to do a ton this year. I've seen enough out of Craig Porter to where I actually like him a pretty good amount as a player, so I'd like to keep him on the team. He's got a really cheap contract, and I know the numbers weren't very good this year. I totally agree and stand by these numbers. It was not a great season for him, but I feel like I've seen enough out of Craig Porter to think that we can get something out of him if we need to, so I'd like to keep him on the team. And that's who's currently on the roster. We've got 5 open roster spots currently, and we'll talk about those because some of those are going to be filled up pretty quickly. But what we need to talk about is this salary cap situation here, right? Because this team is expensive, to say the least, right? We just jumped below the second apron right here because we got rid of OKK. So let me just put him back on for a second. You'll see this is where we were to start the video, and then I'll go forward one more time. And so now we're back under the second apron with that move here. So let's just talk about cap space really quick and kind of what this means. So there's 4 levels in the NBA salary cap, and if you want a full explanation to these, go watch my Phoenix Suns video. It's going to be somewhere on here. Yeah, it's right here. It's the first video in the Ideal Offseason series this year, and it goes into much more detail about these, but basically 4 levels. Here's your brief overview. Cap space. So when this number hits 0, which it has, you can only re-sign your own players for a minimum contract. You can always re-sign your own guys for more than that. Then we have luxury tax. The luxury tax number right here, when you cross that, which we have, it's at 0, your team gets way more expensive to operate, right? And then we have the aprons. These are new to the NBA. These were put in place to try to make star players harder to trade because it's better for the NBA if star players kind of stay put. But it hasn't slowed that down too much. But I will say the apron feels like it's balanced out the NBA a lot more, right? It feels like talent is much more evenly dispersed than what it used to be, at least considering how competitive the playoffs have been, which is pretty cool. I like the aprons, but basically once you get into these, it gets really, really hard to trade people. It gets really hard to maneuver. Once you get into the second apron, which is where we were, really the only way you can go is down. So it's a scary spot to be in. You better be damn sure that's the roster you want if you're in the second apron, because it's pretty impossible to make improvements after that. And so we are damn close to that second apron, and something to note is we still have to put 5 players on the roster. This team is also just expensive to operate. I mean, we've got some expensive basketball players in here, and while like Jared Allen, DeAndre Hunter, even like Darius Garland, I think they're on pretty good value contracts for their level of production, this is still a business, and we need to operate with that kind of idea in mind, that we need to save some money on this team and maintain some flexibility. So we're going to have to make some moves to save some money and get us below maybe these aprons. But we'll get there in a sec. What kind of draft picks are we working with this year? We have 2 second-round picks this year, which I actually think are really valuable to us, right? We have the 49th pick, which is the Bucks' second round, and the 59th pick, that's ours. Looking forward, we've got access to a couple of our first-round picks, actually. We're missing a 2029 and 2027. We got so much talent on the team anyway. This is a pretty good collection collection of picks that we still have for how much talent we have on the team. But what these 2 picks can do for us is give us 2 players on our roster that are going to cost us next to nothing, right? So we can put kind of 2 guys at the end of our bench, fill our roster that's not going to contribute much to these cap numbers right here. So I would like to keep both of these picks and use both of these picks. And you can sign those guys for like 4 years nowadays from the second round. So obviously we still want to make sure we do our due diligence and get the right players for the team, but it's always good to have rookies on the team. It's good for culture and stuff. Guys love having rookies on the team. And as somebody that was a freshman at one point in basketball, yeah, it's always something to be the youngest on the totem pole, but it is what it is, right? So we want to use these picks. They're going to be valuable to us. But what we're going to be doing for this video in terms of like overall strategy is I don't want to touch this 5. This 5 is not going anywhere. Oh, let's take Chumo KK out of here. What I need to do is I need to shed some salary, right? I need to give us some cap flexibility and fill up this roster, right? There's going to be some guys that are free agents on here that we have to address. That are currently free agents from our team, I should say. But we want to maintain an extremely competitive roster. We're trying to win a championship. Next year is a huge opportunity for us, right? The Celtics are down. This is our opportunity to strike, right, and try to get through. And obviously there's other good teams in the East, but they're kind of the favorites, right? And they've been a little bit banged up this season. But you have to assume maybe Milwaukee doesn't look that great next year either, right? So there's even less competition in the East than typically. So we have the opportunity to just run through the regular season again. We want to do that. So save some money, keep the core intact is what I want to do. So let's move forward to the trade portion of the video and start making that happen. Alrighty, and that brings us over here to Fanspo. Fanspo, if you're not familiar, pretty cool website where you can do a bunch of things like trades, mock drafts, and stuff with really realistic resources. They got a bunch of stuff on here. It's a lot of fun. I'm not sponsored. I just think it's a really cool website that they've put together. The UI of it is really clean too. As someone that has people build those things for him and his company, very well done, people at Fanspo. Very well done. And before we even do the trades, if you skipped the last part of the video, you're a hoe, and your mom's a hoe too. I look at the analytics. I see that like 65% of you skipped to this part of the video because EVC, I don't have the attention span to listen to your strategy, or aka the important part of your video. Go back and watch it, dum-dum. Go back. I'm watching you. You need the context, otherwise you're not going to know what I'm talking about. You're going to leave a dumbass comment, and I'm going to tell you being a dumbass. So just know that that's what I see, okay? I read the numbers. But anyway, we need to first, before we make trades, figure out how many roster spots we have available, because right now there's 5, but who of our free agents are we bringing back, right? Here's our current free agents. Amani Bates, restricted free agent. I'm not a big Amani Bates guy. I know there's some people that just love to, I don't know, cream the jeans off of seeing him score 30 points in the G League. Not my type of guy. Javonte Green, I like that guy a lot. Great athlete, great energy. Whenever he's out there, he makes an impact. Solid three-point shooter as well. I feel like we're probably going to have to move on from either a Max Strus or an Isaac Okoro, and he is a cheap way to kind of fill in at that position. So I would like to make sure that Mr. Javonte Green is back on the roster. So that's one roster spot taken up just in and of itself. Then we got Chumo KK. Already got rid of him. No. Ty Jerome. We're not bringing Tristan Thompson back, don't worry. Ty Jerome, awesome season this year, right? He's going to get paid. I know he didn't have a great playoff series. I'm not as high on Ty Jerome as maybe other people are. He did have a very good season. Like, I'm not going to disagree with that whatsoever. I don't know. I just kind of like, I'm not a huge fan of his game. Like, I don't feel like he's quite as smooth with the basketball as I want a point guard to be, but I can't deny the production. So I don't want to take that away from him. I really don't. I'm just giving a quick opinion on it. But Ty Jerome probably going to get paid by somebody this year. And so what I can do is help him get that in the form of a sign-in trade, because there's no one really out there that can afford to pay him outside of like Brooklyn and Detroit. I don't think Detroit's going to want him. They have enough guards in that position. Brooklyn, they very well might, but I can think of one or two teams that would love to have him as a potential point guard for next season, and I'm down to help facilitate a trade in that and get some value back for him. So just know that that's one thing that we're going to try to do in this, and that's actually where I want to start all of this. So what we need to go over here and do is go over to our cap holds here. And so Javonte Green, he's coming back with us. We need to maintain that. Let's get rid of all the cap holds that we don't need, just because, you know, I want this to be accurate, right? Like, I don't need access to these players. Oh, Sam Merrill as well. Oh, Sam Merrill. Why is he not on the list? Where's Sam Merrill? Well, I want to bring Sam Merrill back as well. Like the 3-point shooting is awesome. Also, somebody said he looks like me the other day. If I was in the NBA, I was like, well, we are both pasty and we have the generic white guy comb over. So you know what? Fair enough. Dude's a pretty good shooter, so he's out shooting me almost certainly. But yeah, we don't need access to these guys right now. So we'll try to bring Sam Merrill back because he won't cost us really anything either. I like Sam Merrill. Dude works his ass off. Defensively, like, not the worst player either, even though he kind of just gets out-muscled sometimes. So, but Ty Jerome, I want to do some sort of sign and trade with Ty Jerome. So how much do we think Ty Jerome is going to get this offseason? Like, he did have a very, very good season. Like, he's like 6th man of the year type of dude. He's 27 in kind of the prime of his career. Can we presume he's going to get like... because again, he's not quite a starter, and I don't think anybody's signing him to be their future starting point guard. Like, I want to say like 14 to 15 million, right? Like, most teams can't afford anything more than that anyway, right? So that's going to be part of it. But let's just say, to kind of start out, we're going to give you 14 million right here. Over, do we want to do 4 years? Is 4 years what we want to do for him? He'll be 32 at this point. I think it's going to be 3 years more so. So let's do something like that for Ty Jerome, right? So Ty Jerome is now here on this type of sign and trade deal, right? I like that. The first team that I think of right off the bat to trade him to is the Dallas Mavericks, holders of the first overall pick and holders of an injured Kyrie Irving right here. They need a point guard for next season, somebody to kind of steer the ship until Kyrie Irving can get back, because they're going to have a lot of good players otherwise on this team. Like, you got Klay Thompson, you got Cooper Flagg, presumably, you got Anthony Davis, a ton of other good role players on this team, right? But who can I take from you guys to make something like this happen? And I think the better question is, like, who don't you guys need anymore, right? Because I would love to give you guys Ty Jerome to use as your starting point guard for the time being, right? But where do we go after that? What are you guys giving us? Well, one thing that we could use is like another big. I'd love to have like another like true big man to kind of use in our rotation here. And like, I look at like a PJ Washington who's on like a 1 year 14 mil. That's kind of interesting. This is going to raise like the amount of salary that we have quite a bit, so we're going to have to make other moves. But like PJ Washington, the 3-and-D of it all, like his age and everything, it's pretty valuable. You have Anthony Davis to play the power forward now, so you don't necessarily need him. You have Cooper Flagg as well, so this feels like a good opportunity to take in like a PJ Washington, does it? Oh, by the way, we have to adjust some of this. Like we don't have him anymore. We don't have Chumo KK. He's off the team. So does this just like work in and of itself, right? That fails. Why is that? They can only take back 7 million. Oh, that's right, because of the 100% rule. Yeah. Okay, so we'd have to send them something else. Well, let's just make this a 3-team trade because we got to do stuff like this anyway, right? Here's what I'm thinking. We got to either dump Okoro or Strus. What I'd like to do, I'd like to keep Strus. I like the shooting that he brings. I'm definitely probably wanting to get rid of Okoro just because you don't get as much production out of him, and we've got other guys in Jalen Tyson that I can throw there, and like we'll have Javonte Green as well that we can use as kind of a pseudo Isaac Okoro. So I kind of want to get rid of like Okoro and potentially Dean Wade, especially if we're taking back PJ Washington, right? I think that's a good way to go about it. So how are we going to do that is the question. Immediately, I think when I look at our team, another point guard would be nice. As much as I trust Craig Porter to be a backup next year, we could maybe do better. And there are teams that would probably love to have the young man in Isaac Okoro, like my Chicago Bulls, and they have plenty of point guards for me. I look at Javon Carter, who's only making about $7 million right here. We can give them Isaac Okoro. Could we give him Dean Wade as well? I don't know. Let's try this. Let me just see, like, oh, I didn't mean to send you there. I'm so sorry. Trade you to the Bulls. I'll take Javon Carter back. Nice 3-and-D point guard, in my opinion. Take him back in Cleveland. Where does this put us salary-wise right here? That's actually a success. Okay, so we've got a successful framework right here. That's cool, because anything past 3-team trades I always get a little bit weary about. And so what else do we need to make this happen, right? We gave the Dallas Mavericks Ty Jerome, someone they really need. They don't need PJ Washington as much. That feels like a pretty equivalent trade for the most part, right? That feels pretty good. In terms of where this puts us financially, that'll be another question. But we take on Javon Carter, we lose Isaac Okoro. They're probably happy to have Isaac Okoro in exchange for Javon Carter, so they gotta give us something in this, right? You guys can keep your picks this year. What are my picks looking like for 2026? We've got 2027 could be a year where we wouldn't mind having 2 second-round picks again. The Bulls love trading second-round picks. As you can see, they just don't even have any, and I think they forfeited one as well because of the Lonzo Ball thing. What about 28? We've got one there, so I'll take a second one in 2028. You want to just give me that? I think that's fair. Give me this because you get to have Isaac Okoro now, and I think this 3-teamer right here is honestly pretty solid. I like this. So where does this put us in regards to all of our money, right? Because that's where it gets a little bit complicated. That's where it gets a little bit complicated because now Mr. Washington is on the team. That takes up a lot of money. And Isaac Okoro is now Javon Carter, right? So we still have to ditch a pretty good amount of money, don't we? So Isaac Okoro, you are now going to be, I'm just going to put Javonte Green there just because. Sam Merrill's going to be here. So there you go. Let's move Craig Porter down one leg. And these, by the way, aren't like the final things. This is just for me to kind of see everything going on. So let's put PJ right here, and then we'll put Dean Wade. So we're still $9 million into the second apron right here. We have 2 roster spots left. We need 2 roster spots left to use our 2 draft picks on. So we need to trim some more fat right here. So that's hard. That is difficult. So there's 2 ways to go about this, right? We need 9.2 million here, but these 2 guys are going to take up $1 million in and of itself. I feel like we got to trade Max Strus, don't we? Let's say we do trade Max Strus. What does that leave our bench at? It leaves our bench with, and by the way, Dean Wade might have to go as well in that. That would leave us with PJ Washington, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. That's a great forward rotation. We're not going to be able to find another center, so we might have to like draft one, but that's not going to be ideal. Let's see. So if we move Max Strus and Dean Wade, that leaves us with Sam Merrill's a backup, which they were using in the playoffs anyway. We got Javon Carter, who's usable. Javonte Green's usable. I'd like to hold on to Jalen Tyson for the sole fact that, like, this sounds very like, oh, 2K, they just always get better, right? Like, I do just hope he gets better and we can use him. And look, he only cost me $3 million at that position, so I'd like to kind of keep it if I could. So who can I dump Max Strus to? Who could use Max Strus? And how much money do I want to take back? Is there a way that I can only take back like $4 million somehow in the form of a center? That's a way that I'd like to kind of look at this. So there's Nick Richards. Would the Suns give me Nick Richards? No, they don't have the financial capability to do that at all. Drew Eubanks from the Clippers. Interesting. His contract's non-guaranteed as well. And would the Clippers want a guy like that? The Clippers probably wouldn't mind taking on a Max Strus, would they? Would they? So let's see if we can't maneuver something like that, right? Like Drew Eubanks, not the greatest player ever, but he's a big that's played in the NBA, and he's played serviceable minutes in the NBA before. So let's try and make this happen, because they've got some financial flexibility. Like, they're going to sign Harden or whatever. The only thing they can really do is buy back in, right? We did a whole video on them, and actually in the Clippers video, these 2 teams make a trade as well, so you should go watch it because it's a little bit different. Here's what I'm thinking. Can we just do a Strus over there to the Clippers? This is a separate trade now, right? This is a separate trade, just so that you guys know. It's not a 4-teamer. And then we would take Drew Eubanks back. And mind you, we would get maybe a little bit more than this as well. But does this work? This fails. They need to cut $6 million more. Okay. So that doesn't quite work, right? Because they would need to move... not even just Chris Dunn, they'd have to move like Derek Jones Jr. as well. Okay, so that isn't necessarily going to work. Okay, maybe we have to look elsewhere. The Clippers have a lot of money, so that doesn't surprise me. Who else could we go get then for just a little bit amount of money? Just a little bit amount of money. What about Duron Sharp? Like, what is Duron Sharp go for right now? Like, I didn't even see him on the list, but I know he doesn't make much money, right? Is there a sign and trade possibility that we can do there? Like, I like Duron Sharp. I know he's been a little bit injured here and there, but like I can afford to take on Duron Sharp, so they would have him as a cap hold, right? So there's Duron Sharp. He's not gonna go for that much. Could we say we're gonna give him like 2 years, 10 million or something like that? Can we say we're gonna do something like that? 2 years, so $5 million. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's probably appropriate. They don't necessarily need to bring him back, right? They might even be taking a center in the draft in like Maluach or something. So we do something like that, right? So he's now on a standard contract. We trade him over to us as the Cavaliers right here, and we give you guys Max Strus just because look, you guys need someone to play the forward position on this team, right? You need somebody to play it, and they can probably strong arm us a little bit to be like, hey, give us like a draft pick or something for helping you out financially, even though you guys are giving us a better player. Yeah, you're right. You're taking advantage of us a little bit. The Nets are totally going to be a team to watch out for this offseason, as a team trying to take advantage of teams trying to sell people, right? And in exchange for like draft capital and stuff. So we send him over here. We ship him off with a second-round pick as well. We can even just reroute this Bulls one that we just got, because the Bulls will probably still be bad at this point. So there you go. That pick goes over there. Does that work? That doesn't work. And why is that? Sign and trade must be of either 3 or 4 years in length. Oh, okay, well, I'll give him another year. That's fine by me. The longer we lock up these contracts, probably the better. So let me modify this. This is now a 3-year at $5 million. So that's fine. I really don't care. So there you go. I actually don't know why that rule is in place. That's kind of interesting. I'll have to ask my buddy about that one. I know some cap experts and stuff. Those are the real ones that should be making YouTube videos on this. So, all right, that works. So Max Strus is now Duron Sharp on a 3-year, $5 million deal. So Max Strus off the team. That is now, who is that? No, I already forgot. Mr. Sharp here. So that's Duron Sharp. He's making $5 million over the next 3 seasons right here. And we're going to throw Mr. Sharp right here. We definitely need to shed some more money, because these guys are going to get minimum contracts. That's going to push us over the second apron. Yeah, this is a crazy situation, man, because we're still trying to stay competitive, and we're going in the right direction. We really are. It's complicated, right? Okay, so Dean Wade's next. Where can we ship Dean Wade to? That's probably the last trade we need to make happen somehow, right? So this is going to be the 3rd trade of the video. Who could use a Dean Wade, and who has a cheap player for us to take back? Well, how much do we need to save? So Dean Wade's I'd like to cut that in half if I could. I'd really like to cut that in half. Or no, he's the only one. Who can we take back for really, really cheap? Lonnie Walker. Would Philly want a Dean Wade? They don't really have like a ton of like power forwards do that. And I wouldn't mind having a Lonnie Walker. Let's make sure that this is adjusted as well. So Sam Merrill is now there. Sixers might not want to help us out right now is the problem. But as I say with every trade, because I see some things in the comments sometimes of people like, these 2 teams would never trade together. Teams will always pick up the phone for information, first of all. So any of you that are like, they're not even picking up the phone for them, you're a fucking idiot. As far as like, if it benefits them, they're going to listen to it, right? And they'll execute on it if they need to. So just looking at the Sixers, they're one of the teams we're going to be fighting with next year. They are short at that position right there. And Lonnie Walker as a team option, like, can we just do a swap like that? You guys need a spacing 4. We need to save some money. Let's just see if there's anything else that we don't benefit them quite as much, right? Is there any way we cannot do that? Like a Johnny Juzang might even be a better option. Like Utah really doesn't need him on the team. They might rather have a Dean Wade, and maybe they're moving guys like John Collins this offseason, right? And they want to prioritize minutes for someone else. They also just need to free up roster spots in general, so they might be trying to package him with somebody else. That probably doesn't make a ton of sense. Who can we take back for cheap? Not Baylor Shireman. Kevin Porter Jr. might not be neat. We already kind of tried him on the Cavs and didn't want him, though, didn't we? Terrence Davis with Sacramento? Meh. I'm not so sure about that one. Jaden Springer, his contract's not even really guaranteed completely. Mezzi Keita, I like Keita a lot, actually. Does Boston? No, Boston can't take on any more money is the difference. Jaden Springer again. Who could we take on? No, Memphis wouldn't want to give us Vince. That's definitely not going to happen. AJ Green, we could have him and Sam Merrill. We could have the Derry Bros. That'd be kind of crazy. I'm gonna look through this and try to find something. Does a trade like this work with... I'm back talking to the Clippers now, trying to help them get a little bit better. Can we just send Dean Wade over here for Jordan Miller? Jordan Miller didn't have a great season for them. Showed a lot in the Summer League, but, Summer League, as we always say, does not have any correlation to success in the NBA. Does this work? That works. Okay, that saves us a pretty good amount of money. We take back only 2.1, send out 6.6. We just tell them, hey, you're saving us some money. You can have a much better basketball player. That's going to have to be fine for us. So we're going to turn this into Jordan Miller. Where is Jordan Miller? He's got to be on my list somewhere. How is he not? Alrighty, that should be fixed now. There's Jordan Miller. Cool. Okay, now we've got $6 million to work with right here. And Dean Wade, no longer on the team. It's not a huge deal. We're going to put Mr. Miller right here. It's not the worst thing to have, just another lengthy wing on the team. Okay, I think that's pretty good trade-wise, right? We've got 2 roster spots left. We're not going to be able to be a big player in free agency anyway. We still have to sign these 2 to minimum contracts, right? It's gonna be close. Are we sure we don't have to trade anyone else? Are we sure? We're gonna go and we're gonna see. We're gonna go and we're gonna see. It's gonna be cutting it really close right here in terms of like how close we are to the second apron. But we're gonna figure it out as we go. So let's move on to the draft. Alrighty, and that brings us here to the Fanspo mock draft. A really cool process. It'll just do a whole simulation of the mock draft and everything. A lot of cool things with that. What are we looking for in this? Probably some other form of guard right here would be good. I don't know, just best guard available, and then one more big would probably be a good thing. I'd say that's probably what we're looking for right here is kind of the final 2 players on the roster. Obviously, our first pick is coming in at 49 here from Milwaukee, so it's not going to be elite talent here, but again, we're bringing these guys on so that we're not taking a huge hit in terms of salary cap right here. So we're going to see who's available, man. I have no idea who's going to be available here, but hoping to get somebody good. Our pick is coming up. Our pick is coming up. Oh, here we are. Alrighty, what do we got? So, just look through the list. Kobe Bryant feels like a staple in these videos at this point. I feel bad just taking him in every single one, but he's like one of my sleeper guys in this class. Like Kobe Bryant, probably the best shooter in this class. He's 6'7". Like, he's not probably going to do a bunch else. Like, could be an okay defender at the NBA level, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want. Like, why would I want Sion James versus Kobe Bryant again? This might just be another video where we pick Kobe Bryant. So I think that's the first guy that we're gonna pick here is Kobe Bryant. Alrighty, so Kobe Bryant goes right here. This is the 2nd round pick number right here. We give him 4 years right there. He slides in as another guard for us to use here if necessary, right? This is gonna be cutting it so close. I'm not sure we're gonna completely fall under it. We might need to make another move somehow. I'm not actually sure how, but we're gonna have to do what we're gonna have to do. Let's move on to our next draft pick right here. What do we want to do? Alrighty. I'd like to get some sort of big. Who's it gonna be though? Hanson Yang. I'm not a huge fan of him personally. I got to see him in person a little bit. Kind of whatever. Is he even still in the draft? I don't even remember. He's not in the draft. Ivisic. I actually like the one from Illinois a lot better. Personally, Flory Badunga, thought he was going to really be something coming into college this year. Grant Nelson. Grant Nelson's the answer right here. He's like a white Evan Mobley, but a little more mobile. If you haven't watched Grant Nelson film before, I've also just mentioned him on the channel a couple times. I just like his game a ton. He's basically a 6'11" power forward that's extremely coordinated. Like, he runs like a gazelle. Can put the ball on the floor a little bit. The form is a little bit wonky, but the ball goes in a decent amount of the times. He dunks on everybody, blocks a ton of shots. I dig Grant Nelson. Let's go for the upside swinging it. He's a senior level guy, so I'm down to pick Grant Nelson. Alrighty, so this is going to be Grant Nelson, same deal. Oh my goodness, I did not mean to do that. I'm so sorry. Same deal here, so let's put this stuff in. Okay, 3.8 right here. Are we even able to bring both of these guys back? So that was the draft limit. Let's just clear that up right away. That was the draft. We didn't actually end up taking in any more picks, so that's just is what it is right here. Now we're on to free agency. Let's see how much more we need to do in this video. Alrighty, so Javonte Green and Sam Merrill. If we were to bring them back on minimum contracts right here, how many years have they been in the league? Javonte Green's a 7. Okay, so 7 already brings us in. Oh, these are draft pick numbers right here. I need the minimum salaries. Brings us in at about 3 million right there. We're gonna have a problem. We are going to have a problem. How much is Sam Merrill going for? Sam Merrill, how many years has Sam Merrill been in the league at this point? Let me just find him so I know how much his minimum contract would be. Sam Merrill, debut was 2020, so 5 years. Okay, so he's got about 5 years under his belt, and that means he's going to be about 2.6. No, we got to make like one more trade, don't we? But who could we move that's actually going to save us the money? Like, we'd have to move one of the other guys, or like Javon Carter needs to move somewhere else as well, and we'd take on like another minimum contract. Okay, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to send Javon Carter somewhere else as well in our trades that we were executing here. Can we reroute him to Brooklyn? What did we give Brooklyn? We gave them a 2nd round pick. We gave them Max Strus. Can they also take on Javon Carter for a year? Because they're also pretty weak at the point guard spot. So he goes there instead. Just where are we at financially with that? That's still a success. Player option, they don't really care. Do we pay them with like a 2nd round pick for both of them, honestly, just for like making our team work? I feel like we probably have to, don't we? Which, look, we're trying to contend, right? I get it. We're trying to contend. So, I'd like these more recent 2nd round picks more, so you can have this other 2028 one as well. There you go. Send that over to the Nets. We paid them to take on these players, which honestly they could use them. So there you go. So now Javon Carter is not on our team. We don't have a backup point guard there anymore, but we've got much more flexibility to work with in terms of things. We also don't have this 2028 2nd round pick. So now I can sign Javonte Green to his money here. Which, look, I'd rather have Javonte Green, honestly. So we give him his money for 1 year, and then we go grab Sam Merrill right here for 2.6, and then we're just gonna have to go find one more point guard, which, like, that's fine. We can do that. There's gonna be other good point guards in free agency, so let's go take a look. Who's available? Like, who's someone that wants to join a contending team that's going to get to play a good amount of minutes that we can throw on this? Oh, I've got a phenomenal idea already. We've got $4 million to work with. Okay, hold up. Okay, just hold up. Chris Paul, last chance to get a championship, my boy. Last chance. This is ideal offseason for a reason. I also think Malcolm Brogdon could be an interesting option. Let's just look at other people, right? Let's just look at other people. Like, if they turn down Aaron Holiday, I'd take Aaron Holiday. Russell Westbrook's not turning his down. I'd take a Spencer Dinwiddie. I'd take like a Dante Exum. I'd like more of a true point guard, honestly. Maybe Tyus Jones signs with us. I doubt it. I feel like somebody will give him a little bit of something. Markelle Fultz, I'd sign Markelle Fultz. He's a different type of point guard, at least, and he's got some experience. But we're going after CP, man. We're adding him to the rotation to play with these two stud guys. He doesn't have to play a ton of minutes, but he's going to be there as the leader of the team, and that might be the last thing that we need. He makes every team better that he's on, so we're bringing in the boy CP3, one last chance to try to win a championship. That's what we're doing. So he gets the maximum of it right here. We just avoid the second apron, and this right here is your 2025-2026 Cleveland Cavaliers. Wow, we made some moves. So let's talk about it. Did we get better than we were last year? No, probably not, but we had to make money moves, right? The important thing that we did was hold on to our core 5 right here. We have probably the best starting lineup in basketball at this point, right? These 5 are studs. What did we do after that? We saved money. We had to save money. We couldn't afford to bring Ty Jerome back. This team needed to cut some salary and stuff. We can't afford to be a second apron team. There is a world where maybe they do have to move on from somebody else as well to maybe even get below the first apron. I don't know how much their owner wants to spend. I'm not counting his money for him, but that's always a possibility. But what did we do? Oh, I should add Grant Nelson to this as well. I didn't put him in the depth chart, so there we go. What did we do, though? We tried to make as good of a makeshift bench as we could. We've got Chris Paul, which very serviceable. We're fine to have him. Deron Sharp and PJ Washington, honestly, pretty good bench right here. Like, we can work with both of these guys. Both of them aren't going to probably get a ton of playing time, but you know what? We've got a pretty solid big man rotation right here. We got Sam Merrill still, who we're comfortable with. Javonte Green we're comfortable with. Maybe Jalen Tyson makes a jump. Maybe. Got guys like Jordan Miller on the team because they're cheap. Craig Porter Jr. can play spot minutes if needed. It's whatever. Drafted 2 rookies that are cheap and mature in Kobe Bray and Grant Nelson, who, if we need to throw them in, fair enough. But most importantly, we did well financially. We made this team cheaper. We're still very competitive. There's a lot of green on this sheet, a lot of green. I don't know why I sounded like Donald Trump there for a second, so I'm sorry if that spooked you or anything. But anyway, wow. Okay, this is it. These are your Cleveland Cavaliers. This is where I turn it over to you guys. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, I put in a little announcement out on the channel, but you guys are going to be getting about 7 videos a week for the next couple weeks. The way I see it, this is the prime time for NBA content. The channel's doing well right now, so your boy's going to be working overtime while his company is working overtime to just try to make it happen. Your boy's going to grind it out. But as always, seriously, I appreciate you guys so much. Let's move on to the comment of the video. Alrighty, all the comments of the video is coming from our Los Angeles Clippers ideal offseason video. Go give that and the other ideal offseasons a watch. Again, I think these are unique videos that don't exist elsewhere on YouTube. By far and away the best series on my channel. And go watch the Do They Fit in the NBA series videos right here. A lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and educational as well. Learn about all the draft prospects. We still got a couple more of these to come out. I've got like 5 of these already pre-recorded that I don't think have come out yet even. I've lost track as to what's pre-recorded. But anyway, comments of the video. The number 1 comment on here from Juan Garcia, something illiterate right here. He said, "My guy, I am salivating," no space in between the comments. That's how much he's salivating, "like a fat kid outside a bakery." We all been there at some point, my boy. Y'all ever had puppy dog tails? There's one of those in Minneapolis that I live by. So it's a thing. It's like a food or whatever. They serve these things called puppy dog tails. I salivate over those things. Impatiently waiting for the Spurs offseason vid. My boy, we will get there. I said, what a visual. So look, I'm gonna get you your video. I promise you, I had to wait for the draft lottery and everything. Everybody's going to get an ideal offseason video, right? We had to wait for the lottery for some people. I'm trying to take care of some of the playoff teams and everything because their teams are heartbroken right now. At least y'all got the draft to think about right now. These guys are sad, brokenhearted, right? But anyway, as always, go leave me a comment. I respond to every single comment. Looks like I've got one to go respond to right here. And as always, if you want access to the ideal offseason spreadsheet, go join the Discord. Link is in the description. Go to the announcements channel and you can download it there for free. Yes, it is a marketing ploy to try to get you the notifications for my videos, but you know what? It's an exchange of goods. That's how business works. Anyway, I seriously appreciate you guys as always. I love making these videos, so I'm glad that you guys are enjoying them as well. Share them with your Nana, and yeah, we'll talk later. Thanks so much. Bye.